Hi everyone. I know it's been a while since I recorded. Just wanted to get back into the habit of podcasting. It was nothing really going on, just like, I don't know, some overwhelms and weekends were busy, so I just didn't have the time, and then I just felt like I didn't have much to show. But I'm glad to be back. So I think I'm going to start with just getting right into the cross stitch, and then we'll talk about maybe, you know, life updates and other stuff and other crafts later, just for the people that maybe don't follow that stuff. So I'm going to start. I do have a finished object, so this is not fully framed or anything, but this is the Irish Blessing. The pattern is by Tiny Modernist, and I use the called for DMC in fabric. And so there's the finish. So I think I just had this top part to do, and again, I haven't ironed anything, so sorry about that, but I just have the tiny little house and all the little leaves. I think it turned out really pretty. I am excited to get that ironed and framed up and everything. I have an eye out at thrift stores for, because the pattern said it will fit an 8x10 frame. So I have an eye out at thrift stores for 8x10 frames that are like kind of that greenish or something like that color. That'll go well with it. The other thing I have that I finished, well, I don't have it because I gave it as a gift, but I did a Quirky Quacker, the little Cardinal. So I made this as an ornament for my mother for Mother's Day. So she really liked it. She loves cardinals, and I think it's a really cute pattern. I really enjoyed it. I did it on like 14 count Aida, so it was like largish, but it was still good ornament size. I would probably do it on a smaller count Aida or something next time if I wanted to make a smaller one, but it was still very cute. So next we can go into the whips that I have. So I do have a little bit of an update on my Dimensions kit. So for people that have been here a while, I'm working on a Dimensions vintage kit from the 90s. So this is where I am right now. So this is called Magic in Motion. So I don't have kind of the top half. I'm kind of working the bottom half, most of it. So I got a lot more of this robe, more of the colors down here. Let's see, here is the pattern for people who are interested. It's Magic in Motion from Dimensions, designed by Lane Gordon. Again, I found this on eBay. Sorry for the glare. But yes, that's going to be the finished product. So it's been really fun. I did mess up some counting, so my thread got a little low in some colors. I did run out of one color, so I ran out, or I'm almost out of this dark turquoise color, and I'm gonna need a lot more of it. So I looked up conversion, and I think the conversion was based on like the old colors, because when I was in the store, that color was not right. It was like electric blue. It would not match the colors, so I tried going by memory. I grabbed it because I didn't bring my sample with me, but I think I got a pretty close approximation. So this is DMC 322. So I got this to replace the dark turquoise color because I need that for some sections still, and then it also blends with other things. But I think I did pretty well picking out a color that matches from memory. I grabbed like one other color that was like the lighter shade of this, but it was too light. This one, if it could be a skosh darker, it'd be perfect, but it's really, really close. I don't think you're gonna tell once it's like stitched in. And you know, it's a big flowing robe, so you can kind of get away with a lot. But I did run out of that color, so I did have to put that on hold for a little bit. It's also been harder to work on, just because it is black Aida, so it's harder to see at night, and it's like 3 threads at once, so it's really thick and really, it's harder to pull through, so it takes more effort. The one I wanted to update you is I have a new start. So this is, when I was talking last month, I saw you, it was May for, it was Mirabilia May for a lot of people. So I was debating starting Mirabilia or Nora Corbett pattern. And I did start one. So I started Miss Forest Mushroom by Nora Corbett. So the Nora Corbett patterns are not as complicated usually as the Mirabilia patterns, but here's the pattern. So this is the Nora Corbett Miss Forest Mushroom, and I just thought she was really cute. I like the whole cottagecore mushroom little fairy thing, so I was excited about that. And then I got that started, but here is what I have so far. I have like the top of the body. So I don't have any beads in yet, so it's just empty spaces. But this is what I have so far. I mean, I think it looks cool. I did make an alteration. There was one color that was just a one tiny little pink dot for the mouth. And I just decided I'd rather not buy a whole skein of floss if I'm just gonna use it for one square. So I just left it off. So I don't know, if it looks weird, I can go back and add something that she doesn't have a mouth, but I am okay with that. So I am using the DMC called fours. Again, I haven't bought the beads yet. I'm gonna buy those when I get to the actual beading. The fabric it is on is 32 count linen in Ivy from Fiber on a Whim. So I got that at keepsakes. I just bought the quarter, so I'm gonna have plenty of leftover, but I can use that for lots of other things because I like the color. I like that color, so I got that. And here are my flosses. I've put them in flossway bags that I got at Joann for their closeout sale. I also put them all on bobbins and got them labeled. Again, I got everything except that one color that only had one dot. So far it's fun. I would say, like, I didn't expect there to be quarter stitches. Just glancing at the chart, it doesn't really explain that they're quarter stitches. It just kind of has the symbol be like really tiny in the corner of the square, which I didn't catch at first. So when I was just like picking out my fabric, I was thinking, oh, I could have done this on Aida, but again, you can do quarter stitches on Aida. It's more difficult sometimes. And it doesn't really explain on the pattern that this is a quarter stitch, so you kind of just have to know what to do. So I would say it's maybe not great for beginners. And I like how it's turning out, like, look-wise. I think the shadow maybe just looks a little weird right now. Like, if I show you, like, there's just a really stark difference between this skin tone and this skin tone. But I think once we fill in and have the whole, like, mushroom person, and you get the idea of, like, okay, this is a big covering cap and it's going to cause a shadow, it'll make more sense. It just looks a little odd now. I would say I was also considering doing a skin conversion, but I'm just not experienced enough with like switching out colors, unless it's like the pattern is one color, so I just use the one color and use a different color. But yeah, so I like the way it turned out so far. Again, I don't know if Mirabilia stitching or you know, fancy ladies are quite my thing, but I did like making the mushroom cap. And sometimes it's hard to keep track of where you are because it's not like a stark difference between two different colors, but it does give you like a good flow and makes it more like naturalistic looking. So that was fun to try, and maybe get into more fanciful stitching like fancy ladies. And also, since the last time I spoke to you, we've had 2 full moons. So I have some progress on my moon stitch. This is Black Cat Hollow Part 1 from Barbara Anna Designs. So I'm just kind of working my way across here. So last time I had just a little bit here. So I've got more of the stars. I got in here and made the boat. And kind of the ABC and the 1, 2, 3 started. I got this witch in. I don't have her skin in yet. I was going to do a skin replacement on her since she's just like one solid color. And I didn't want all the witches to be like the same exact color. So I did the first one in the recommended. So I'm gonna pick out other tones once I think I maybe hold off till I'm done and just kind of hold up a floss toss to them. But yeah, this is it so far. I think it looks really cool. I really like the glowy kind of lanterny flowers and the Quaker stars, the little house, the pumpkins. I'm getting really excited for Halloween season. The fabric that is on is 16 count Aida by Needle Bling in Broomgrass, and I'm using the called for DMC on that one. So my next project that I've been working on is I'm still working on those socks that I was working on last time, but like basically I'm just almost done with the first sock, so I'm just down to the toe. I didn't bring it in just because it's at a fiddly position. But I also started a sweater. So this sweater is the Soufflé Tee by Penrose Knits. I'm sure you've seen it if you are like a knitter on the internet in the past few years. It's pretty popular. But here is what I have so far. So if you haven't seen it before, it's got kind of like a sheer on the top and then a ruffle around the yoke, and then it's like a kind of a puff sleeve. It can be a short sleeve or long sleeve sweater on the way down. So this is what I have so far. So this is like the back. Like this will be connected by like a button right here. So this is a keyhole in the back of the neck. And the rest of this is like this. It's suggested you do it in a mohair, but I don't quite like the feeling of like just plain mohair on my skin all the time. So what I have, this is still lace weight. So you hold a lace weight single for the top of the sweater that is see-through, and then you hold it double for the rest of the sweater. But this yarn is by Amano. Mayu lace and the color Grenadine. So it is a mixture of alpaca, cashmere, and silk. So it has a little bit of a halo to it, but it's not like pure fluff like mohair or alpaca lace would be. So I'm still getting that see-through effect when I just have one. I did do a swatch. I was diligent and did a swatch. Sorry, it's kind of buried. Sorry for the crinkly noises. But I did a swatch. I did it half in the 1 strand and half in the 2 strand. So here is my swatch. So I can see like this side that I'm holding over here is see-through or more see-through because it's 1 strand, and this half over here is more solid because it's 2 strands held together. And it's nice and soft, but it's not like itchy feeling or prickly feeling. And I figure it'll breathe a little better than the mohair. But again, that's yet to be seen. I'm gonna make the short sleeve version. I don't think it's gonna be like quite a summer knit, but it'll be like more kind of like a spring or fall, something to wear with maybe there's a little bit of a chill in the air, but you still don't want to be wearing a big heavy sweater. Yeah, so I got Gauge with the called for needles. It is also an excuse for me to finally order a cord smith. So if you've seen these on the internet, they are they're a tool to help you make I-cords. So I haven't tried using them yet, but here's one. I got the Ace Pride colors. Happy Pride Month, everybody. And so I've got the normal sides and the like mini, because the hooks are smaller for the lace weight yarn. So it has an applied I-cord edge. I've done it before, but I've definitely heard that with the tools, it makes it a lot easier. So went ahead and ordered that. Those are made by a maker called Autumn. You can find her on Instagram if you search under Cordsmith. She also does the size inclusive pattern collective. So she sources size inclusive knitting and crochet patterns and sewing patterns actually too. So I do like to look at that resource. She's got a Discord set up that I enjoy being in. So I am working on that, and that'll be a fun new tool to play with for me. So yeah, so I've just been focusing on those. So I've got pretty far on those, which I'm glad for, but I don't have a ton of like extra projects right now. For plans, I do want to see if I can start Disagree by the Rebel Stitcher for Pride Month. I'm also concerned if I want to do a Juneteenth, but I don't know. That feels like, is that like cultural appropriation? If I do like a Juneteenth kind of thing, or if I was also thinking of doing a protest stitch today, because today is like the protests they're having out there. Again, if you're outside protesting, be safe. You know, look out for each other. Bring water. I've got my little pride frog, and I'm wearing one of my Biden Harris shirts. Again, like it's one of those things where I feel bad that I can't physically participate the same way that some people can in protests. And my partner and I can't do it, but we definitely stand in solidarity. If you're unsure of my politics, that's it. I also have tried coffee dyeing. I don't know, it's just not coming out the way I thought it would. It's just not coming out dark enough. So I think either maybe this was like a vintage Aida I got at like the Scrap It Up store. And I've tried coffee dyeing it twice and usually let it soak for a few hours, and then I rinse it and set it in the vinegar. It looks a little stained, but like not that much. I was hoping for more of a more tan color. So I don't know if maybe just this Aida was resistant to dye, or if just I'm not doing the coffee dyeing right, because I'm basically just brewing a cup of coffee and pouring it on it. I don't know if maybe I just need to make more coffee and let it soak for longer. That's an experiment with natural dyeing. I'm also growing more plants for natural dye. I have amaranth in the backyard that's slowly starting to come up. I don't know if that's gonna like fully develop. Those seeds were kind of old. I also planted some black dye sunflowers, so those are coming up pretty well. They're getting much taller. They're about this tall now from when I first planted them as seeds. I also got some coreopsis. I think I always said that wrong, but coreopsis and black-eyed Susans in the front yard, I think those can be used for dye purposes, so I might try some of that. A lot of my plants have sprouted in the backyard, which is really good. We also have a lot of mushrooms popping up. I'm okay with that. I'm not really doing fungicide or anything like that. I just want to kind of let the garden do its natural thing. Again, we are privileged enough that we don't need to have the plants to survive to eat. It's more of like, this is for fun. But I have noticed that there's a lot of mushrooms in like whenever there's a lot of rain. We've also noticed that, I've mentioned we have a groundhog that occasionally visits our backyard. We have now 3 baby groundhogs at the very least. I've seen 3 of them kind of like tumbling around back there. So we have 3 babies to feed. I try to protect the plants. I have them over there, but if you go to like dollar stores or Dollar Tree kind of places, you can get those little wire baskets that you use for organizing. I put those on top of seedlings, or I put them over top where I planted the sunflower seeds, because I know birds go after those like really intensely to dig those up and eat them, because they love sunflower seeds. So I protect the young plants with that stuff. We've noticed the groundhogs have started kind of wandering in the front yard, which they hadn't been doing before. So I don't know if they're just looking for food or if they're just exploring. I am not sure. But in the front yard, I've got the black-eyed Susans and the coreopsis flowers. I want to try to get as many natural plants as I can out there because it'll hopefully make them low maintenance and also help them survive and be good for native wildlife. I have seen a few hummingbirds out there. I've seen plenty of bees and butterflies stop by. I did see a caterpillar the other day and other stuff like out in the front yard. So I'm hoping we're getting enough wildlife refuge and places where they can eat and sleep and drink water. Because I've got a little watering station in the back as well, where I put out an old broken plate on top of an upside down broken pot that I filled with, like, you know, those little glass gem things that you use in vases that you can get at Michael's. Fill it with that, and then I fill that with water when it hasn't rained, so that there's some water and some places for the insects can land. So I'm excited about the garden so far. It's the first time I've gotten parsnips to sprout. The dill's doing pretty well. I think I have one pea shoot that's maybe surviving. Again, I'm not sure if it was just like the pea seeds I had just weren't doing well. I've got, like, I think a cabbage and a tomato plant. So I planted my own seedlings, like I started from seed, but they didn't get very large, but I'm going to plant those out today. Just because I think they do better outside, because I planted a few and one of them I think got blighted, so I'm just going to dig it up, but the other one looks like it's doing really well. So I'm going to plant all those out there, maybe dig up the one that got like mushroomed to death and see how those go. Next we can talk about what I've been watching and reading. So for reading, I finished the book I'm Afraid You've Got Dragons by Peter S. Beagle. So if you're wondering if that is the guy that wrote The Last Unicorn, that is. If you're not following him on Facebook, I would highly recommend you do that if you're on Facebook. He basically daily posts like an affirmation with a picture of the last unicorn. It's really wholesome and sweet, so he's really fun to follow if you love The Last Unicorn as a child, which was definitely a big movie in our household growing up. So I'm Afraid You've Got Dragons is, I think, his latest book. I think he just published it like a few months ago or last month. But it's kind of I would say it's about someone who is a dragon exterminator, but they don't want to be. So they love dragons, they don't want to kill them, but they're kind of forced to do this job to like support their family. And then there's like a princess who hasn't been allowed to learn to read, so she's trying to teach herself to read. Like there's a prince who just is being kind of forced to go out on adventures when he doesn't really want to do that. So it's all very much like people don't want to, they've been kind of constricted to these roles that they don't want to fulfill. I would say if you like Discworld books, Discworld, it's a kind of along that, not quite as funny and irreverent as Terry Pratchett, but kind of along that vein. So I really enjoyed that. We've also really enjoyed Andor Season 2. I watched that with my partner. We both loved it. It's a really good show, just period, and also just good, like, commentary-wise on society right now. So if you're interested in that, like, I would recommend watching that. Even if you don't know Star Wars that well, if you watch Andor Season 1 and 2, I think you can kind of at least follow along, because it's basically just a spy story. So it kind of, you don't need to know the ins and outs of the whole Star Wars world to get what's going on in the show. We watched the new season of Doctor Who, and Ncuti Gatwa is definitely like one of my top favorite doctors right now. He was really great. Unfortunately, it looks like he's not coming back, but I don't know. Sorry if that's a spoiler, but I am interested in what they do. I don't know what they're going to do next, but I thought his series were a lot of fun. So hopefully he goes on to better and more fun things, but we'll see. We also watched The Residence. So that's a show on Netflix. It is a murder mystery show that takes place at the White House. It's like a completely fictionalized world. Like there's no political people that you would recognize. There's they allude to people, but it's not based on like a certain president or a certain even like party, because they're very vague about it. So I think this is kind of like an alternate universe kind of thing. If you like mysteries like Knives Out and The Glass Onion, I would say it's right up your alley. They even name drop the Knives Out series. So I would highly recommend that if you like kind of like funny, sometimes silly, but it's still also a really good mystery. Like it's not one of those things where, oh, I saw who's coming a mile away, or I didn't know who the killer was and then it turned out to be somebody that didn't make any sense. Like, it all makes sense in the end once you get the explanation. So I thought it worked really, really well. The main detective is like a fun character because her kind of like quirk, like for being a detective, is like she likes to go birding, and she like applies like looking for birds and things she learns from birds to detective work, and it's really fun. Okay, so that's what I have so far for you today. Again, sorry it's been a while, but this is the way these things go sometimes. Oh, I am also, sorry, one more thing. It is spooky decor season. So I picked this up at Michael's, that they're getting the spooky town set up. If you've ever seen these, like, if you haven't seen one of these, it's like those Christmas towns, like Dickensian Christmas towns with the little statues, but it's Halloween instead. I collect those. I'm trying not to get too big of a collection, but there's one I really like here, and it's witches having a pizza oven. There's a game we like to play called Flamecraft, where you play as like, you've got little dragons that you're trying to give them little jobs and little businesses. And one of the businesses is called the Pizza Coven. So it's a pizza place run by witches. And so we love that pun. So we definitely are looking into maybe getting that to add to our spooky village this year. So I hope you all are doing well. Again, stay safe. You know, do what you can and stay safe and look out for each other. I hope you're all doing well. Bye.